Welcome back to PERK'S reCAP podcast. It is time once again for our NFL shows, the review of Week 17. Another crazy week in the NFL. And with me, of course, is Al. And once again, Brandon has joined us. Last few weeks here, he's been with us, and he's been kicking our butts in all the picks.
Pure luck. It's been crazy to predict.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you just can't predict on this one. That's for sure.
Yep.
All right. Well, if you guys are ready to jump right in, I can start us off here.
Let's do it.
Yep. All right. Okay. We'll start with the Minnesota-Detroit game. Minnesota wins 23-10. Detroit has taken a complete free fall, and I'm surprised. I thought for sure they were going to respond, but Minnesota is actually playing well now. Their defense is playing pretty well. Only gave up 10 points to Detroit. Detroit's out of the playoffs, and nobody saw that coming.
Darn right, dude.
Yeah. Insane game. And it really was all about the defense, right? The Vikings got 6 turnovers, 5 sacks. Brosmer pretty much just did what he had to. He didn't really play great, didn't play bad. But it was just a really sloppy game by the Lions. Goff lost 3 of those fumbles. And their running game's basically been shut down for a couple weeks in a row now. So just good game by the Vikings. But, yeah, the Lions are free-falling now that they know, I think, that they aren't in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yep. That once the soul is taken, there's nothing left, and that's basically what's happened.
Yeah, this is crazy, man. This just puts just a nail in the coffin of what was a very strange season for the Lions. I mean, I just refuse to give up on them until there's no more to look for. I'm stunned more than any other team. I'm stunned more than the Chiefs. I'm stunned that they didn't make the playoffs. Yeah, it just blows my mind. And the fact that the Vikings beat them by 13 points when Max Brosmer threw for 51 yards is just astonishing.
He lost 48 yards on sacks, so he netted 3 yards.
Yeah, and they won by 13 points. I mean, that's incredible. Absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah. Of managing, I mean, if you could even call it that, but managing a game, not, like throwing it away, pretty much just sitting back there and taking punishment.
Yep. Lions outgained them 231-161, but didn't matter. Like you said, Lions are basically just free falling. Jared Goff threw 2 more interceptions. Jahmyr Gibbs only averaged 2.4 yards a carry. Montgomery 2.5. I mean, just everything looks off with the Lions, and they've got a lot of work to do in the offseason now.
They really do, man. This is just another big lesson, and I have to remember this moving forward, how big a deal it is. I mean, if I can't remember it being an Eagles fan, who's going to? Losing your coordinators are. Ben Johnson, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was a massive deal, as it turns out. I mean, losing Aaron Glenn was a big deal, as it turns out. It seems like Ben Johnson even bigger deal than Glenn, but both units went down in their output this year. So we got to remember, man, how important these coordinators are. It is not just the head coach or even close to just being the head coach. So, yeah, that's the big thing I'm taking out of this. Other than that, I don't know, because, I mean, you look at the weapons on that Detroit offense, and they should be a top 5 offense every year.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, so I don't know what to make of it, man. It's one of the biggest shocks of a very surprising season overall to me, and I'm blown away by it. And the fact that the Vikings with Max Brosner put the nail in their coffin is perfect for this season.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that encapsulates it right there for sure.
All right. Let's move on to a game that had 21 penalties, my favorite. The Cowboys over Washington 26-20. No, I'm sorry. 30-23. 26-20 was my prediction.
Oh, nice.
30-23. And Al, you were pretty close. You said 32-24, so that was pretty close.
Hey, not bad.
Not bad. Not a whole lot to write home here. I mean, Dallas beat a really bad team, and Dak threw 300 yards again, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Malik Davis went for over 100 yards. Javonte only had 13 carries. It looks like he got a little banged up. He might not play this coming week. And the ball got spread around a little bit. Turpin showed some of that speed that he's known for in that 86-yard touchdown. But, there's not a whole lot to talk about with this. Nothing was on the line. Both teams are out. Josh Johnson did Josh Johnson things. Husky Merritt looked okay, 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. Best he's looked in a while. But, that's all I got for this game.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot to take away from it. Washington did have 6 sacks, which kind of kept them in it. Cowboys started quick, but the Commanders kind of came back and got within 1 score a few times, but just couldn't get over the hump. So good game for the Cowboys to maintain the lead, and Dak played pretty well, and basically just a standard win for them.
Yeah, I agree. This was a really bad team against a mediocre team, and the mediocre team did what they should have done. I mean, Dak is just a freaking beast. It's just a shame it didn't. The rest of the team around him didn't. There's some people that played well on this team this year, but the overall the overall performance of the team, if it had matched Dak, they'd be in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, I mean, he leads the league in yards.
No, if they were anywhere near the playoffs, he'd be in the MVP conversation. I don't think he would win it, but he would be in that conversation, and deservedly so. But the rest of the team didn't hang with what he's capable of.
I don't know if you caught this, but how the mighty have fallen. Trayvon Diggs got released.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah, I was going to bring that up because I wanted to get your reaction to it. What'd you think of that?
He couldn't cover anybody this year. I mean, I don't know what happened to this guy, but he went from a Pro Bowl corner, got hurt, came back, and just has been absolutely putrid. I mean, everybody's wide open every single time they throw his way. He's one of the main reasons why this defense was so poor, especially the secondary. He was one of the worst corners in the league. He had to be.
Yeah, and it's interesting because he was a all-world player 2 years ago, and maybe came back too soon from that injury. I don't know enough about that.
He tore his ACL, so.
Yeah, and listen, people come back from ACLs all the time, but when they come back too early, sometimes it hurts the process. I don't know. I don't know what happened. All I know is that somebody's going to listen. They signed him to a massive contract, and that's why this happened. But somebody's going to sign him to a deal and hope they can get him back to form. I'm curious to see what happens with him. I don't know.
Yep. All right. Let's move on then. Let's move on to Denver over Kansas City, 20-13. Kansas City put up a little bit more of a fight than I thought. We all had Denver winning. By the way, we all had Dallas winning as well, and we all had Detroit winning. So we all lost that. So far we're all the same. We're 2-1 at this point.
Right.
Kansas City put up more of a fight than I thought, and Denver just kind of like Brandon said with Dallas, they kind of just did what they had to do to a team that's not as good as them now, with all these injuries and everybody not playing. And the thing I want to point out is the time of possession, 39 minutes to 20 minutes. 39 minutes to 20. That's basically double. And that's a big part of what happened here.
Huge.
Yeah, that's huge. Denver has a bunch of these games this year where they just kind of like play down to the other team, play down to their competition. This game was way too close throughout, and it took Bo Nix basically a great pass at the end to kind of put this one away. But yeah, Denver, I mean, they beat Vegas by a touchdown a couple of weeks ago. We had that OT game with Washington. Like,
They've had a lot
they
of close
don't look the
games.
best always, but really it's their defense that carries them through. So, that might just be their MO.
They have the Kansas City syndrome from last year where they win all these one-score games, and they better be careful next year that it doesn't reverse on them and they lose all the one-score games.
Yeah. Yep.
That's not a bad comparison. You know what my comparison is? I'm curious to see what you guys would think of it. To me, they remind me a lot of the Eagles this year.
Okay.
A lot of really close games, defense carrying them through. Their offense isn't quite as bad as the Eagles has been at times, but their offense hasn't been awesome. And they remind me a lot of each other, but Denver's won a couple more of those close games and didn't have that one just hell month that the Eagles had. But neither of them, I don't feel awesome about either one of them going into the playoffs. They both have, like Brandon said, they both played a lot of close games, sometimes against really good teams, which is totally understandable and great that you won them. It's a positive. But then there's these 7-point wins against the Chiefs quarterback. None of us can even say his name. And,
Okay.
yeah, right. Who threw for 66 yards, by the way. And the Raiders a couple weeks ago. So, they're an interesting team to me. I don't know how I feel about Denver going into the playoffs. The last game's going to be interesting too, even though it's going to be a weird one because of last week's circumstances. But yeah, they're a fascinating team to me. And the Chiefs, boy, how the mighty have fallen. And I can't wait to see if they can reload in the offseason. Andy Reid said he'll be back, which it doesn't surprise me, but it is good to know that that they're maintaining the regime,
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Denver's just waiting for the playoffs now, so we're going to see what they're going to do. Another playoff team is the Houston Texans with a good, solid win over the Chargers. And the Chargers were home. They're both 11-5 now. Houston is just surging. Three of us picked Houston. Joe actually picked the Chargers. I didn't blame him one bit because the Chargers were at home.
Yeah.
And they're a little bit under the radar compared to a lot of these other teams. They're going to win that division. The AFC West, they're winning that division. I think.
No, the Broncos.
Oh wait, no, the Broncos are going. So I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah, and what I was referring to in the weird matchup for Denver in week 18. Sorry, I'm still not used to that. Is that the Chargers are in the playoffs, but are going to be sitting and have seating up in the air, but are going to be sitting their starters.
Wait, if the Chargers beat Denver, don't they win the division?
No, Denver already clinched.
Oh,
yeah,
they're one win ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, Herbert's sitting, and several other starters are. Anybody that's banged up is going to be sitting, according to Harbaugh.
Okay.
So they're just handing Denver that game.
Yes. Yes, Stroud, 2 touchdowns, but 2 picks. Woody Marks is actually running really well for them. Nick Chubb is basically relegated to, he had 1 carry in this game. Yeah, the Texans' MO is basically the offense does just enough and the defense is the best in the league. That's basically what it boils down to.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they win a lot of games close as well. But they let their defense looks a little bit better doing it. This was a good game. Herbert played well. His receivers kind of let him down on some of those, especially that one towards the end. I think Gadsden dropped a possible TD. But Texans look good, man. They look great on defense, and as you said, offense did just enough to win this one.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the Chargers team is really interesting. Herbert being hurt is bad for them. They're super, like you said, Craig, they're super under the radar despite being now 11-5. And I'm one of those people that's not huge on them, honestly, but I wouldn't be surprised if they win a game or two in the playoffs. I wouldn't, especially if Herbert's hand heals up a little bit between now and then because he's getting the week off. But the story here is the Texans. I mean, it looked like they were going to win this game 57-0. If you watch the first, like I walked in the door like 3 minutes after kickoff and they were up 14-0.
Yep.
You know, I'm exaggerating just a little bit, but it was like bing, bang, boom, you know, big pass play. They're up 14-0. And then they kind of pulled an Eagles and went into their shell for the next, 53 minutes and scored 6 points the rest of the game. But like Brandon said, their defense is spectacular and, it carried the day here. They got 2 sacks out of Derek Barnett, a former Eagle who, was pretty much a bust of a first-round draft pick. He was an average player, and if they got him in the in the third round even, he would have been considered an okay find. But they got 5 sacks out of Derek Barnett this year. That blows my mind.
All right. Well, if that's all you got for that one, let's move on. Okay. Baltimore just steamrolls over Green Bay 41-24, but this all the talking points start and end with Derrick Henry, 36 carries, 216 yards, and 4 touchdowns. End of story. Close the book. This game is over.
Yeah, and in the past, I have kind of lamented that the Ravens have not done what they needed to do game plan wise and closing some of these games out and relying on their best players. And I would never say that the Ravens are better without Lamar Jackson because that's definitely not true. But what I do think his injury maybe helped them kind of get to game plan wise is putting the ball in Derrick Henry's hands towards the end of the game or relying on their running game. Lamar, if he's in there, can be included in that. But putting the ball in the best player's hands and, just running out the clock, just beating it. Like carrying the ball so much for somebody like Derrick Henry does so much to an opposing defense and just wearing them out. So I think the Ravens finally did kind of what they have to do. And the Packers just didn't have an answer for it.
Yeah, I agree. I think their game plans at times have been just head scratching. And this was perfect. They did exactly what they had to do. Henry was hot. They stuck with it. Todd Monken's been under fire this year, their OC, and justifiably so, but this was a perfect game plan this time. Tyler Huntley ran for 60 yards on top of Henry rushing for 216. This was just unbelievable. I think of a fun conversation that might be fun when we're doing playoff games since there's so much less to talk about. So think about this, guys, moving forward. There have been maybe more than any year I remember, and it doesn't mean that it was more than any other year, just that I remember. There are more backup quarterbacks that have earned at least a consideration, if not an outright shot at a starting job in this league than any year I remember in ever watching football. In a loss, Malik Willis played unbelievable football.
Yeah. I think he's definitely earned himself some consideration from somebody in the offseason for sure for a starting position because he's just played lights out these games that Love has missed.
He's been incredible, man. 18 for 21 for 288 yards and a touchdown, 9 rushes for 60 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Wow.
It's absolutely mind-blowing. Now, he does have center exchange issues, but that can be worked out. Listen, we all Huntley's had his shots in this league, and we know he's not a starter for long term. And I think we would all agree with that. Maybe not, but yeah. But he is a top backup in this league. There's other guys. Who's the guy that Mac Jones playing for San Fran earlier this year? There's a handful of other dudes out there. It might be a fun conversation to think about a list of quarterbacks that have earned a shot at a job.
Yeah, Malik Willis all of a sudden is at a resurgence in his career. He looks fantastic, actually. The only thing I want to mention with all the stats here, over 400 yards of offense for Baltimore, Rushing, they ran for over 300 yards to Green Bay 79. And time of possession, they doubled them up. They had 40 minutes to Green Bay's 19 minutes.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Excellent.
What's the next one? Oh, Browns 13-6 over Pittsburgh, because this is why you can't figure out Pittsburgh.
This is freaking Pittsburgh, man, right here.
You picked 16, or I picked 16-7, but I picked the wrong team. We all picked Pittsburgh. Obviously, we all got it wrong. In the last game, we all picked Green Bay, and we all got that wrong. And yeah, this is just an ugly game. Myles Garrett did not get the sack record, which is annoying. I wanted him to get it. And
He might not get this thing, man. He might not get it.
Oh, man.
I
If he
know.
doesn't, that's going to be insane.
Incredible. I can't wait to see what happens.
Pittsburgh, obviously, they got the game next week, and that's going to be, that's going to determine if they're in the playoffs or not. They're, guaranteed the winning record still, so another one of those for Tomlin. But this was a game they should have won, and my goodness, wow. Just wow. They're mystifying. You can't figure them out, like a lot of teams in this league, and they're one of the worst ones at it.
Yeah, I mean, the Browns were my upset pick, because I knew that there was a good chance that something weird was going to happen with this. It's just the typical low scoring divisional game. Pittsburgh didn't really come to play. Browns defense was pretty good, although it almost seemed like the Pittsburgh was focusing all on Myles Garrett and didn't really account for the rest of the Browns defense. I don't really know what they were doing there. But this just felt like the kind of ugly game that I thought it would be, in which either team could win, and the Browns actually just looked better.
Yeah.
This was perfect. I mean, this was absolutely this game right here is the poster child for the entire NFL 2025 season. This is perfect. The Steelers, who Craig and I have been tearing our hair out for 3 years with this team. I mean, all they had to do was beat a 3-12 team to clinch their division and make this a meaningless game against the Ravens in Week 18. Nope. Here we are. Now they got to win a game to win the division. Everything is the fire Tomlin chance might come back now. Who knows? I don't know, but this is crazy, dude. They put up. Listen, Cleveland's defense is pretty damn good, but it's not a 6 points against a playoff team good. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah. I mean, maybe I didn't give enough credence to DK Metcalf being suspended, hurting them as much as it apparently did. I don't know, but man, this is just an absolutely perfect thing. I mean, it really is. Rodgers, who'd been awesome for a couple weeks, looked like every bit of his 45 years in this game or whatever he is now. Yeah, I don't know, man. This is wild. Shooter Sanders played okay, but he had 2 picks. You know what I mean? This is like, there's nothing in his stat line that says, oh, the Browns won that game, So.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Shador, because I feel like he plays decently, and then he just has 1 or 2 throws that are just like 2 of the worst throws you've ever seen in your life in these games. So if he could just clean that up, then I think he'll be decent. But I don't think he played terrible. I think he just had some bad plays in there.
Yeah, it's interesting because he's like, so far now, that first start we talked about, it wasn't a start actually, when he played most of the game coming in for Dylan Gabriel, that epically bad 4th or 16 with a pick thing. But, the results are mixed so far. It's enough that, I think he's going to be in the conversation for next season, but it's been bad enough that you're also not like, yeah, Shador's definitely the guy moving forward. I mean, his quarterback rating right now is 68.5. He's got 7 touchdowns and 10 picks. So I'm curious to see moving forward because the Browns are going to be in position to take a quarterback. Are they going to take what do you guys think? Would they take a quarterback after taking 2 in the later rounds last year?
I don't think so.
I really think it just kind of depends on where they fall. If they're in the
Let me put it
3 range,
this way, Brandon. If there's a draftable quarterback, a reasonably draftable quarterback where they're sitting, what do you think they would consider it?
If it were one of the top 2, I think they would consider it. I don't think they'd consider anybody else at this point. I mean, what do you do? They have how many guys? They have 3 quarterbacks essentially on their roster that are kind of around the same level. Like Shador maybe is that guy who's maybe you covet him a little bit more than Gabriel at this point. But it's kind of a mishmash. I don't know. I really, it would to me depend on if you're getting a Mendoza or not, or if you're, I don't think they're just going to take a gamble on somebody else.
Right on, right on. And here's another last thing I'll say about that real quick because I think it's kind of interesting. Shador Sanders has gotten some buzz since he's been playing, and I think it's fascinating because I there was 2 games he played pretty well in a row, but then most of the rest of the games haven't been awesome. Here's a really interesting thing. Shador has 7 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. You know what Dylan Gabriel did when he played?
7 touchdowns and 10 interceptions?
7 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
Oh.
Now, who's the guy you're considering more heavily to be the starter next year?
Shador.
And why?
Because he won the job from Gabriel.
Dylan got hurt.
Yep. Yeah, but then when he got back, he's eligible now, right? He's not hurt anymore.
Yeah, that was a coach's decision. He didn't come in because he took over for him not playing well.
Oh, really? It was because Shador won that first game, right? So
exactly.
After you win the first game, you buy yourself a few weeks, essentially.
Right. But I mean, if Gabriel was the clear starter, he would have went back in when he got healthy again, and he didn't.
Well, I'm not saying he was a clear starter and that he should have had the job. I'm saying why do you, Craig, consider Shador the more likely candidate for that starting job when he clearly hasn't played as well? I'm just fascinated by the way everybody's viewing this Shador Sanders thing.
Basically because of that. Basically because they're choosing to go with him over Gabriel right now. I would right now be surprised if their quarterback room stays the same. I'd be surprised if Gabriel starts over Shador game 1 in 2026.
Well, football-wise, do you guys think there's any way they go to Deshaun Watson?
Wait, I don't think there's any chance. I'd be surprised if Deshaun Watson ever plays a snap in the NFL again, personally.
Didn't they cut him? No, they didn't cut him, did they?
No, they still owe him like $700 million.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way. That's why I mentioned it.
I mean, when he's on the field, he's probably better than both of them, but they're not gonna open that can of worms.
And honestly, Craig, he wasn't the last time he played.
Right. He's had better success in the past.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, the pre-injuries and scandal, Deshaun Watson was better than 3/4 of this league, but he hasn't been that guy for 5 years.
Yep. But yeah, in my opinion, I could be wrong, and Gabriel could just completely outplay him in like preseason and the, training camp and all that. But right now, I think Shador is the week 1 starter next year.
Yeah, and I understand where you're coming from. I guess let me ask this question another way: why? Not why you think that. Why would he be given the results on the field of the 2 quarterbacks?
Yeah, I mean, I know he got taken after him, like well after him, but I still think Shador's a better quarterback. I like Shador's. Not that I've watched a ton of either one of them. I watch a little bit of both. I think Shador's a more ready quarterback. Gabriel looks more like he needs more polish to me.
Yeah, well, and I can easily refute that by saying, where's the extra polish needed when he's thrown 8 less interceptions?
Yeah, but he threw a lot less passes too, right?
Well, he threw the exact same amount of touchdowns. So no matter how many passes it took, he got to the same amount of touchdowns with 8 less interceptions.
Yeah, I don't know. Just I guess in my mind, Shador's a
No,
better prospect. Yeah,
you're not the reason I'm going at you like that, Craig, and forgive me, but I find it fascinating because you're not alone in that assessment. I just find it really interesting because one, Gabriel, even though Shador went from possible first round pick to fifth rounder on the day of, Gabriel was still drafted 2 rounds ahead of him. So you have draft capital, you have the fact that he performed better, you have a couple some factors that would, in a normal circumstance, names taken out of it, you'd be like, okay, Gabriel's clearly the guy who would earn the early chance to start next season.
But why isn't he starting now then?
Well, it's the same reason I said, 15 weeks ago, which we disputed about at the time, is that both of these guys are going to play this year because they needed to see what they had.
All right, well, they've already seen Shador a few weeks now, and if he's clearly not as good, why is he still starting?
I think a lot of it's recency bias as well. I think Gabriel had a couple of games earlier in the season when we were like, oh, okay, Gabriel, like he might be pretty good. He had a little lull and then he got hurt, and then so I feel like that kind of
Can't open up the door.
Yeah, I think people forget what happened earlier in the season. The season's longer now, People forget kind of what happened earlier in the season. So, do I think that Dylan Gabriel is like 7 pick? Oh, what was it? 7 picks? No, it was 10 picks to 2. Do I think he's 8 picks better than Shador? No. But I do think they're pretty comparable, and I wouldn't say either way that I know who's going to be the starter next year. I think they'll probably go in with both those guys. I think if they're not going to go the QB route, they'll probably bring in another quarterback, to be honest. If they're 100% done with Deshaun and they cut him or something, I think they'll probably bring in another quarterback, maybe a veteran, and basically just see what they have within these few guys. I don't know if that's the best course of action to go with the quarterback position, but I think that's kind of where they're at.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation, man. My last thought on it is I personally don't think they have their guy between either of them. And I think if they pass up on a good quarterback this year, they'll regret it down the road.
I could definitely agree. I would agree with that.
That's a fascinating situation. I wanted your guys' take on that. That's cool. I appreciate that.
Only other thing I'll say is that the Browns don't really have the most inspiring weapons either. So they have to kind of examine that. And maybe that's a little bit to do with the fact that these guys don't seem that great between the two of them.
Yeah, no, their weapons are, they have Judy and not much else.
Well, they got Judkins, although he just got hurt, but he before this, he's been pretty good, actually.
Yeah, but he's not catching passes.
No, he's not. All right. Let's move on. New England 42, the Jets 10. Just absolutely, it was 35-3 at halftime. This was gross from the start. 440 yards for New England. The Jets are an absolute embarrassment, an absolute joke. Do you guys realize, and I mentioned this a few weeks ago, Al, before Brandon joined us, they still do not have an interception on the season.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
no interceptions.
You got to just fall into one at some point,
Yeah.
I hope to God they don't have one next week, because that would be crazy to think they'll win an entire season without an interception.
It blows my mind, man. I couldn't believe it when you told me. I can't believe it's still going.
They've had 4 turnovers all year, just 4 fumble recoveries. That's it.
It's almost impossible. It's mind-blowing.
People are throwing 2 or 3 a game. They can't get one in 17 games or 16 games at this point.
Yeah, obviously it has to somewhat to do with the fact that their entire secondary is like on IR and they traded Sauce Gardner, but
yeah,
not even getting it.
Aaron Glenn was a corner. He was a secondary coach.
Yeah.
How not even getting coach these guys up for 1 or 2?
Yeah, that is crazy.
It's astonishing. I can't believe it.
Let's flip it over to the other side. By the way, we all got this one right, picking New England. With some of the other candidates for MVP not playing as well, I think Drake May is probably the front runner now. Does anybody have the odds?
I believe he's the betting favorite now. I believe he's I think he's like minus 130 or something like that when I looked.
He went 256 and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, he
Back down
strengthened the debate
almost
for
halfway
sure.
through the third quarter.
Yeah, and he stopped playing. He did not play in the fourth quarter at all. And they've gone to Travion Henderson, clearly 19 carries, 82 yards, over Stevenson, who only got 8 carries, although Stevenson did catch some balls. So overall, just wow for the Patriots and Drake May. We know Stephon Diggs got into a little bit of trouble here. There's an investigation. I don't think even if he ends up getting suspended or something, it'll probably be next season. I don't think he's in any danger this year, but you never know. So I just wanted to mention that. But other than that, it's smooth sailing for New England. They're right on course for the number 1 seed in the AFC. It's going to go through New England again, probably.
Yeah, man. Go ahead, Brandon, please.
Yeah, man, I don't really have anything to add to this. The Patriots just thumped the Jets, and as we kind of already discussed, Drake May, he's probably going to be your MVP. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit in the past. The Patriots had a really easy schedule this year, but they beat who's in front of them, and they've been playing well. So can't hate on Drake. He's doing what he needs to, and for a second year player, second year player, yeah, he's really turned it on for sure.
Yeah, we just forgave Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders for not having weapons. Well, their weapons are as good or better than the damn Patriots. You know what I mean? Like the fact that he is doing it with Stephon Diggs and nothing, and Diggs coming off a bad injury and in his 30s. I mean, this is unbelievable. Like, I think the question I threw out a couple weeks ago about Drake May versus Josh Allen is a lot closer than our conversation made it sound like personally. I think I might take May, honestly. Like, he's that good that early. He is 7 years younger than Josh Allen and putting up a season like this with nothing around him. So it is.
And their defense is playing well, too, though.
Their defense has nothing to do with his numbers, though.
Oh, no, I know. I'm just saying, like, in terms of, like, them being so good and, playing well, they're a complete team. It's not just all him.
Oh, no, I'm with you 100% there.
Yeah, it's all him on offense, but on defense, they're playing well as a unit.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're Travion Henderson has been a beast for the last 6-8 weeks. This team is really fascinating entering the playoffs. I don't know. Do you want to have that MVP conversation now or later? Because I find it really interesting.
Let's wait till the end.
Yeah, cool. Okay, great. All right.
Yeah,
that's all I have to say about that one then.
All right, let's move on to a team, another game that had no playoff implications, but a team that is absolutely surging, and we got it right again. New Orleans 34, Tennessee 26. Got to say, they really put up more of a fight than I thought they would. Al, you were closest. You said 30-24, so you were like right there, pretty close. Okay. And but either way, fight or no fight, New Orleans found another way to win another game. What is this, 4 in a row or 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5, something like that? They're playing well.
It is 4 in a row.
Yep, and Tyler Shuck, 333, 2 touchdowns, no picks. What else do you want?
Incredible.
Great game by him.
And Audric Estime? I never even heard of this.
Estime, I think.
Estime? I never even heard. 94 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Audric.
It's really interesting because he was available last week as well, and they only gave him like a couple carries, I believe, and they went with
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill was the running back, basically. And in this game, they kind of tried Taysom Hill a little bit, didn't work, so they went to Estime, and he lit it up. He did a good job.
Olave with 119 yards and a touch. So all in all, a good game. I'm loving what Shuck is doing. Obviously he's a starter. Obviously, I don't think there's any controversy for him starting in 2026 at all.
No doubt.
On the other side, Cam Ward, I'm going to say this. He, was obviously a rookie, obviously had his struggles, but little by little, we are starting to see him get it. Just a little bit. Not a ton. He still only was 21 for 40, but 251, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And every week he seems to be getting a little bit better. He's distributing the ball really well. And Tennessee, while still terrible, obviously, they're not a complete pushover. They're putting up points. They're giving these teams games at least.
Yeah, and Cam's another one where you've got to look at what he has around him as well. He has no receivers that are anybody's drafting in the first, 8 rounds of fantasy football. He has nothing around him, other than, Pollard's playing well.
Yeah, he's got Van Jefferson. I mean,
yeah.
Oh my God, I'm looking at everybody
and
pull the
Jefferson was
ball.
out, so they have nobody he had nobody to throw to of stature, but he got it done with them. He's playing well, and I think we forget, with some of these guys playing well right when they get in the league, that your Drake Mays and your Jaden Daniels, and that sometimes these guys take a little bit to develop, especially if they get drafted to a situation that isn't the best. So it seems like he's playing better as the season goes on.
Yeah, and it makes next year for him really interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you say, Al?
Well, yeah, this is fascinating, man. This is 2 teams that were 2 of the worst in the league 2 months ago that have both played a lot better. Saints have had better results, but the Titans have played a lot better too. And I agree. Shuck is the guy until further notice. I mean, he's the guy.
Yeah.
Definitely going into next season. He's got this job on lockdown. He played awesome, and keeps playing better and better. Cam Ward has also played better and better. I mean, he's not tearing up the world like Shuck is right now, but he has been better and better and better and better, and you gotta feel good about that, especially with the receiving core like you guys were talking about. There's a fascinating little record got broken this week. Let me just find how I can say it properly real quick. Shamiri DK is how we're going with the pronunciation, Brandon, just so you know.
All right.
He broke Tim Brown's 37-year-old record for all-purpose yards in a season, which obviously includes returns. He had over 2,300 all-purpose yards this year, and we still have a game left, so he did it in the same length season Tim Brown would have done it in, which is pretty cool. So he had the most. This is what he did this year: most rookie all-purpose yards, breaking Tim Brown's record. He got into the Pro Bowl. He led the league in return touchdowns, and he was their second leading receiver.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice little player.
Say that again, Craig. Sorry, I talked over you. My bad.
Just a nice little player,
Yeah. That's a nice find late in the draft. It's nothing you were expecting a superstar from, and they got a nice player with it. So at least they have somebody decent for him moving forward. And yes, they need more help. And it just highlights how special Drake May, what he's doing is, because yes, Stephon Diggs would improve every one of those cores a decent amount, but every other bit of it is on par or worse. Yeah, it's a fascinating deal. But the Saints, man, moving forward, they got their coach, they got their quarterback. I feel, if I'm a Saints fan, I'm feeling pretty happy right now.
And their defense is playing a lot better.
Yeah, 100%. Their defense is very good.
I think that Shuck being so good too kept Olave there, because he was on the trade block earlier in the year, but he's playing fantastic now as well.
Yes, and then, boy, are they glad they didn't do that now that Shuck is the guy, and they have their weapon for him, at least, their top weapon. So, yeah, no, that's huge.
Okay, guys. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 12-4.
Yeah.
12-4, 23-17 over the Colts. They are rolling. That was on the road as well. Doesn't matter. They are really on a roll. And I'm loving what I'm seeing from them. Let me see here in these. I didn't have the thing called up. Yeah, I mean, the Colts only had 135 yards of passing. They only ran for 69 yards. So the defense, Jacksonville's defense doesn't get mentioned with like Houston's, and it's not as good as Houston's, but it's a really good defense as well. That deserves to be mentioned. Trevor Lawrence, he ran in 2 touchdowns. He did throw a pick. He didn't throw a touchdown, but still a solid day. And Parker Washington with 115 yards playing well. So all in all, a really nice win for a team that is going to be in the playoffs. And one of these new teams that is in the playoffs is really good, that I finally have completely bought into, and I'm not getting burnt for it because I always do whenever I buy into Jacksonville. But it'd be real interesting to see what they do in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, good effort by Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence did have 1 pick, Craig, but ultimately it didn't really amount to.
Yep.
It didn't really amount to too much there. He played, Trevor played well, like he has been. He had 263 yards. He was efficient. And Parker Washington, man, this guy, he is a weapon for them that they didn't anticipate having, I don't think, earlier in the season, or didn't anticipate being this good, which is really, really good for them. I agree that Jacksonville's defense is pretty good. And looks like we've seen the last of Old Man Rivers for this season. I think next week they're starting Riley Leonard. And Rivers looked okay definitely for what he was coming back from, but I think this could be the last that we see of him finally in the NFL.
Yeah, that's it was a fun story. It was fun, and he played better than anybody who hasn't played for 5 years and is his age had a right to play. It was cool. It was fun while it lasted, but if you're going to Riley Leonard, it's over. And I'm with Craig. I mean, the Jaguars, man, what else do they have to do? I mean, they have Lawrence still has his ups and downs, but he's had a pretty good season. ATN is very good. Their receiving core, Parker Washington. I mean, like you guys said, what the heck? Love it. And Jacoby Myers, man. I mean, they showed a couple isolations on him blocking on some run plays where you were like, oh, it's not just because he's a good receiver that they extended him like 10 days after he got to Jacksonville for 3 years. You know what I mean? Like, that dude's a good player, man. Just a good football player. I can't wait to see where the Jags come out in the wash in the playoffs. I can't wait to see what it takes to beat them, or if they can make it all the way. I'm fascinated by this team now. Absolutely.
I think the AFC is wide open.
I agree. Yeah, completely agree.
So we'll see. All right. On the Colts side, I just want to say he caught a couple balls, and it's one of my favorite names in the NFL, and that's Mo Alley Cox.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I love it. And, and by the way, 6 losses in a row for the Colts.
Yeah.
They were 8-2, and they're not gonna make the playoffs.
Crazy. Okay. Going the other way in a complete free fall. Now at 7-9 is the Tampa Bay Bucks. They lose to Miami 20-17. We all had Tampa. We all got it wrong. There was 15 penalties in this game, little high, and Miami's been playing better. We know that. They had the same record. They're also 7-9. But Tampa cannot win a game. How many is this in a row?
4.
And isn't it 4, but like 5 out of 6 or something too?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I think you're right. But, oh my goodness. I mean, they were 7-5, looking for all the world like they were going to win this division. And now they have a winner takes it all against the Panthers, but depending on some weird circumstance about what happens with the Falcons too. But this is wild, dude. Wild.
Yeah, the Bucks have lost 7 of their last 8.
Oh my God! Is that what it is? Holy crap!
The only team they beat were the Cardinals by a field goal. That is not the most inspiring situation there. The only thing I will say is at least they kind of got their offense going in this one a little bit. They didn't score that many points, but Baker had a ton of yards there, which in some of the past games he didn't kind of throw for as much, and he didn't have Godwin and some of these other guys. So at least that is trending up a little bit, but yeah, they just are finding ways to lose these games, and it's just not looking great for them.
They only ran for 53 yards.
Yeah.
That's a big problem.
Definitely. And low yard, like Bucky Irving, 2.1 yards a carry. Like that's not great. And they're the Dolphins were Quinn Ewers, by the way.
Yeah.
Quinn was 14 for 22 for $172, 2 touchdowns. Devon Achane, what a monster. This is two incredibly difficult teams to figure out all season long. And the fact that the Buccaneers are 7-9 and playing for the division on the last week of the season is fascinating to me.
I can't believe this is where they are. They're playing so poorly. I mean, I don't want to give away anything for our next podcast, but I'd be shocked if they win that game.
It's hard to pick them.
I don't know about shocked, but I wouldn't be surprised.
It would be hard to pick them against the Raiders right now.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Might go with the home team.
All right. Let's move on. Speaking of those Panthers, the Seahawks beat them 27-10. And we all picked Seattle. Carolina does this sometimes. They just throw in a stinker every now and then. They're not great. They're 8-8. And they do what 8-8 teams do. They're kind of hard to figure out what you're going to get, but when they play well, they can definitely win. But Seattle right now is just a monster, especially on defense, only giving up those 10 points. Like I said before, we all had Seattle in the power rankings as well, number 1. And they just, on the road, no less, just dominated this game, 27-10. And made Carolina look like they weren't even, in contention for the playoffs, even though they are. That's how good Seattle's playing.
Yeah, to be fair to the Panthers, this was a 3-3 game at halftime, but Seattle just came out and kind of dominated in that third quarter, which is really what changed it. We've talked about in the past the kind of the different versions of Bryce Young you get. This was just a bad game for him. The worst kind of version of him. But, the Seahawks defense is incredible, so that probably had something to do with it. Seahawks mostly won this game on the ground. Charbonnet, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Kenneth Walker mixing in there as well. They kind of have a two-headed running back field there now. Seems like Walker ceding some carries there to Charbonnet, who's running incredibly. This was kind of just Seattle doing what they needed to do to try to get that number 1 seed.
Bryce Young, 54 total yards passing.
Yeah.
There were 2 quarterbacks in the league that threw for 60 yards this week, and Bryce Young threw for less than both of them. That's pretty wild that 3 quarterbacks in this league threw for under 70 yards.
And play the full game.
Yeah. It wasn't an injury thing. It wasn't a benching. It was, played the full game. Great. That's exactly right. That blows my mind. That doesn't happen much in the NFL. This was, Brandon said this was a 3-3 game at halftime. I was looking at the scores because I was watching other games, and I was like, what is going on in Carolina? I mean, and then all of a sudden the score started making more sense as the second half went on, and then it was just pure domination by the end. Bryce Young, man, I don't know what to make of this dude at all. I don't know what to make of this team. I don't know, I think things are pointing up in Carolina, but they still have an issue with they don't know if Bryce Young's their guy or not. I mean, I still don't know what to make of this cat. Seattle is one of the best teams in football, and just slowly exerted their dominance as this game went on. And their defense is very good. Their offense is pretty darn good, and they're going to be a tough out for anybody in the playoffs, man. They're one of the top teams heading into it, no doubt about it.
Are they the number 1 seed?
Yeah.
Right now.
All right.
I'm double checking that, but I'm pretty sure.
Right now, I believe they are. That
They are.
49ers game is going to dictate pretty much everything
Yep.
this coming week.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yep.
Yeah, whoever wins that gets the bye.
Yeah, big time stuff right there. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Moving on. 37-14, Cincinnati over Arizona. We all picked this one correct. Arizona is absolutely pathetic and putrid. Although in the results, although Brissett plays pretty well week in, week out, they just keep losing. But this is Cincinnati just kind of reminding everybody that when Joe Burrow's in there, they can put up some freaking points, man. This is the third week in a row. 429 yards of offense, over double the time of possession, 40-19. Burrow 305-2, 24 for 31. Chase Brown had 101 yards and a couple touchdowns. Ja'Marr Chase had 2 touchdowns. I mean, did you see that screen to Chase where he juked like 3 guys in the end zone from the 10-yard line? That was crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, Cincinnati, when they're going good and their offense is going good, this is what they can do, again, especially against a really bad team like Arizona is. But, obviously it's for nothing right now because they're out. If they can just get some players on defense and get a little bit better on defense, they could really be a problem for next year. But who knows? I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Their defense has been bad for a while now.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned it, Craig. Chase Brown, I feel like, is the forgotten part of this offense. He's running spectacularly. 101 yards, 2 touchdowns, and we all know what Burrow does. On the Arizona side, as you said, Jacoby Brissett's numbers always look pretty good, but it just seems like they don't kind of execute when they need to. They don't score quite points, and their defense is not good enough. They also don't have a good enough running games. Really, Jacoby Brissett, Trey McBride, maybe some Michael Wilson in there, and then their defense can't really hold it. So good game by the Bengals. It'll be interesting to see what they do going into the draft and next year.
Arizona only ran for 42 yards, 3 yards a carry.
Yeah.
Who's that, Greg?
Arizona as a team only ran for 42 yards at 3 yards a carry.
Oh, yeah. They were terrible. Amari De Mercado, the salad dressing third string running back, who I love. Michael Carter, they just didn't do much. And Brissett put up some garbage time numbers. I think Jacoby's a very fine backup, but this Cardinals team's a mess. Jonathan Gannon, I think, is done. And I have fond feelings for old Gannon because he was the Eagles coordinator, but has not been able to get it done in Arizona. The Bengals have scored. Now they got shut out against the Ravens in a game that still makes no sense to me.
Yep.
But aside from that, since Burrow's been back, they've scored 32, 34, 45, and 37 points.
Crazy.
That's Unbelievable. Yeah, and unfortunately, the Bengals have some of the worst ownership in football, and they will never be able to put a complete team around Joe Burrow. So he is going to have to be Superman and then some to win anything in that town.
Yeah, and there's rumors that he might want out of there.
We're starting to hear that finally, yeah.
Yeah, the Bengals are stingy to begin with, and then when you're paying 2 receivers big money, you don't really have that much to spend on the defensive side of the balls.
Yep.
Yeah, they went all in on offense for sure.
All right, let's move on.
I know where you're going with that laugh.
The Giants 34-10, and they can't even tank right. They lose the number 1 pick for the second year in a row by winning a Week 17 meaningless game. Although Vegas really made it hard for anybody to lose to them, sitting basically anybody who's any good and really tanking, which is what the Giants probably should have done, and then maybe they would have had a better chance. But they went in there wanting to win the game. They kept Jackson Dart in there. No surprise that he played pretty well. Yeah, no surprise that they won this game like they did because, like I said, the Raiders were clearly tanking, clearly not even trying, not even close. And this is what you get, 34-10. Another meaningless game. Brandon, why don't you take it away? This is your team. What do you think about this win and what it means?
Yeah, after last week's show when I picked the Giants to win and I said there was no way they were losing it, I really thought about it and I was really tempted to have picked them more convincingly because I knew they were going to win this game. The Raiders, as you said, once I saw then that the Raiders were sitting Max Crosby, Brock Bowers, some of their other good players, I was even more convinced that the Giants were going to dominate and just completely win this game. The unfortunate part is the Giants are kind of in a weird, at least their ownership's in a weird position. Joe Shane is kind of fighting for his job. So does he actually want to put up a stinker there and get the number one overall pick? That really doesn't do anything for him if basically that's going to get him, if he's going to get fired before then. So he needed to put up a game that made ownership believe that he can actually field a decent and competitive football team. So he didn't really have any incentive to. Mike Kafka, who's probably going to be looking for a head coaching job next year, or not head coaching, but like some sort of position job next year. He wanted to prove that he could win a game. So they didn't really have the incentive to tank, at least the way the Raiders did. So they did not. And the Giants look good, but it was basically against backups. But I think Dart is good. I think he's a starting caliber quarterback. People are talking about, should the Giants draft a quarterback? They're near the top. I don't think so. I think Dart is that quarterback.
Yeah, that's dumb. For people saying it,
Yeah.
I heard somebody say they should trade Dart and draft Mendoza. Are you kidding me?
No, I think Dart is good. I think
That
I
moron
That's
Mike
ridiculous.
Tannenbaum on ESPN.
Yeah, that's foolish. I think Dart's good. You look at either trading the pick, depending on where it lands, or if it's I think if it's within the 3, 4, 5 range, they'll probably just pick somebody. But yeah, they just didn't have the incentive to tank. I'm one of those people. I don't really get mad at the team for not tanking. The Giants are, over the years, the Giants have proven that they don't really know how to do this that way. But I'm not going to get mad at my team for winning. The draft pick's going to be what it is. And yeah, the Giants look good. The Raiders look pathetic. I do not think there's any way the Raiders are probably going to win that game next week. So the Giants are looking at a pick somewhere between probably like 2 and 7 by losing this game because they might, if they beat the Cowboys next week. So we'll see.
Yeah, man. If I had realized, I thought about changing, but I was like, we'll let it ride. Who knows what's going to happen anyway? But the Raiders were doing everything but pulling fire alarms to get the few good players they have out of that building this week. I mean, they said Max Crosby. They sent him out of there. Said, get the heck out of here, dude. You're good. We don't want you. So yeah, they unlike the Giants do know how to tank, and it's fascinating to me that because Pete Carroll is a guy that had the conversation with Crosby, and I don't think anybody thinks Pete's coming back. So what's he getting out of sending Max Crosby home? At least I guess he's a team player for the owners. But yeah, just a mess of a situation in Vegas. And the Giants, they beat a team that was trying not to win. So it was a strange game. Jackson Dart is the guy. Anybody talking about doing anything but having Jackson Dart be the quarterback next year in New York has their head so far up their ass they don't know what they're looking at.
By the way, real quick, I didn't mention he had 48 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Look good.
I mean, listen, Jackson Dart has serious injury risk concerns. I mean, that is real and no doubt about it. But the dude can play. So there's no question he's the guy heading into next season. I mean, I don't think anybody in that has anything to do with making a decision for the New York Giants is thinking anything else.
Right. And me and you, Al, we didn't buy in. We both picked Vegas, and we were wrong.
Yeah, whoops.
Joe and Brandon both got that one right. They picked the Giants. Next one that we all got wrong is your team. Buffalo 12, Eagles 13. I gotta say, this thing was gross. This was not fun to watch. How many yards passing did he have in the second half?
0.
He didn't have any?
0. He didn't complete a pass.
Why is it so bad sometimes?
Dude, listen.
They won the game, and the whole point of this, and I said this last week, their defense is absolutely starting to click, and not starting to, they are clicking now. They have got it going on defense, and anything they do in these playoffs is going to be because of that defense. But this offense has got to do a little more. That second half. I don't understand. I just don't understand what is going on, and it's been, they've had halves like this, but maybe not this bad all season though. They just disappear at times, and I don't get it. Not with those weapons, But go ahead, Al. This is, like I said, this is your team. Go off.
Well, this is a perfect win for the way this season has been. I mean, it really is. The weather was awful. I mean, you couldn't. I'd rather play in 5 feet of snow than the wintry mix crap that they had to play in this game. It was brutal. The defense has become. They are now in the discussion with any defense in football, as far as I'm concerned, even Houston.
Yes, I agree.
And it's been nice to see because it took a while to gel, but they got there. Vic Fangio, once again, proves he's one of the best coordinators of any offense or defense in the entire game. Who is not one of the greatest coordinators in all of the game is the guy whose name I would refuse to learn, who is their offensive coordinator. This would have been a tough game to coordinate anyway with the weather, but holy crap. It's just fascinating watching them look so good at times and then just go into their shell. It's just so weird, man.
13 for 27.
Say that again?
13 for 27.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's this is and Josh Allen had a game like that last week. You know what I mean?
Right, but I'm saying in the same weather, he was still pretty good. 23 for 35. I mean,
how was his game last week?
No, I'm talking this week with the weather. It's not.
No. Yeah, no. Listen, I'm with you. Now, a lot of that was when they were down. They were down 13 points in the fourth quarter. A ton of that was garbage time.
Right.
So,
right. Well, that's the thing is I think that I know that the Eagles got extremely lucky on that 2-point conversion. I think 99 out of 100 times he completes that pass. That guy was wide open, and I don't know how he missed them. That's crazy. But, 13-12, I can't believe the score was that low.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, man. Yeah, and, here's the funny thing. The bottom line of this whole thing is, where did you guys have the Bills in your power rankings last week?
I think I had 3.
I think I had them 2.
You guys both had them at 3. I did not have them in there, and Joe did not have them in there.
Okay. Yeah, so the Eagles beat one of the best teams in football. I think you guys probably would have had them at 6 or 7 at least, right, Craig?
Yeah, oh yeah, they're right there.
Wow. Their defense looked awesome and their offense looked awful. So, this is just absolutely fascinating. The Eagles can beat anybody, but they can lose to anybody too. Like they are one of the poster children for a really weird NFL season.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to get, but I mean, I think that defense is going to travel, and that's going to make them a big time force and a hard out in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, I think this game both teams were perfectly encapsulated in this game. This was like both teams' MO. Philadelphia gets up 13 points in the first couple quarters, score all their points, don't score again. Buffalo tries to come back late and don't quite get there because of that 2-point conversion. And that pitch play that seems to be happening a lot now. I was going to mention it in the Rams game as well, but That's interesting as well. The lateral catch and, catch the pass and then lateral essentially and get like 60 yards off of it.
Especially in that weather that they did that.
Yeah, I know. And so yeah, this was like both teams essentially. This has been their game this year. And Philly was a bit better. Their defense just, as you said, Craig, their defense is probably going to travel in the playoffs.
Yeah, and Buffalo, though, they've had some games like this where they just disappear and they've lost games that they should have won for sure. They lost games that, against inferior teams. They have been wildly inconsistent. For an 11-5 team, they are not instilling any confidence for an 11-5 team, for me anyway.
Yeah, listen, they're all over the damn map, man. They're a hard to, listen, who isn't that's going into the playoffs? There's maybe 2 or 3 teams that aren't like that, you know what I mean? Maybe the Patriots, the Seahawks, and who else,
Yeah.
So they're in another long list of playoff teams that could win the Super Bowl or get knocked in the first round and out in the first round. Neither one would surprise me.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And Josh Allen this year, by the way, has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games where he has thrown for less than 180 yards.
Yeah. I don't get it.
Because when he looks good, he looks like he threw on his Superman cape thing the other week, Craig, and we've all seen it. You know what I mean? And it's a great description. And when he does that, he looks unbeatable and all world. But there are 5 games this year where he was pretty bad. So it's so strange, man. This season is just if you're going to put a picture of me somewhere to describe this season, it would be me with a giant question mark over my head. Because I just don't know what the hell's going on,
Yeah. Yep. All right, let's move on. We've got San Francisco 42, Chicago 38, in the best game of the week. That was fantastic to watch. I thoroughly enjoyed that game. We all got it right except Joe. Joe went with Chicago. We all picked San Francisco. By the way, we all got the previous game wrong. We all picked Buffalo, so that one was wrong. But Al did have Philly as his upset pick. Oh, by the way, we all hit our upset pick for the second week in a row.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yes.
I had Miami, you had Philly, Joe had Houston, and Brandon had Cleveland.
That's crazy, man. That's pretty cool. Yeah. And by the way, I thank you, Craig, for your strategic input on going underdog for my team.
Oh yeah. You gotta do it with in the playoffs if they're ever the underdog.
Yes, definitely. It's my new favorite move now.
So crazy amount of offense, 1,000 yards of offense in this game. Just so much fun to watch. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And once again, it was a Purdy party. 303 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did have the pick. But he had 2 more touchdowns rushing. So 5 touchdowns on the day. Just so good. But let's not discount Caleb Williams. 2 touchdowns, 330 yards. They're playing well. This was not an indictment on Chicago at all. This was just a home team that's playing really well and starting to surge. You got Christian McCaffrey going for 140 yards and a touchdown, another 41 on the through the air. So San Francisco, another under the radar team, they can be the number 1 seed in the NFC. They win next week, they are the number 1 seed.
Yeah, the sneakiest number 1 seed to ever happen. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said it, Craig. This was an exciting game to watch, back and forth. I was doing stuff around the house as I was watching. I kept coming back. There was another touchdown scored and another touchdown scored. That second half was really exciting. Brock Purdy, 5 total touchdowns. Is that the second week in a row? Did he have 5 last week too? He did, right? Or was that 2 weeks ago?
Let me see. I'll check. If you keep talking, I'll check.
But potentially 10 touchdowns in 2 weeks.
He did have 5, yep.
Yeah, so he's lighting it up. San Francisco's getting some help in various spots with different receivers. It's just I like what I'm seeing from both teams. Caleb is playing out of his mind great. Just kind of the Bears' magic of coming back late all throughout the season ran out a little bit in this one, but San Francisco was just slightly better on this particular day, but I still feel good about both teams going into the playoffs.
Yeah, if Chicago's at home, I would think they would win this game. I think this was a home team type of a game. Whoever was home would win.
Yeah, I agree.
Very close.
I totally agree. Yeah, this was like when I do look at my power rankings, I like all the way through like 8, 9, 10 teams, depending on the week. I always mark whether they lost or won, and then put an up or down arrow beside them based on whether they lost or won. And with the Niners obviously got the up arrow, but the Bears I put a sideways arrow because this loss doesn't knock them down very much to me at all. It doesn't knock them down at all to me. It's a loss, which hurts for their seeding and stuff. But it didn't affect my opinion of them even a little bit. This was a hell of a game, one of the contenders for game of the year, no doubt. And both teams' strengths were on display, and they both played really well, and neither one of them lost a whole lot in my mind. And San Fran won more because they won the game. But Caleb Williams, by the way, it looked like there was no shot because he was going to need to have 2 pretty good games to make it happen. But all of a sudden, one of my favorite statistical anomalies in NFL history has a shot to fall, which is the Bears never having a 4,000-yard throwing quarterback in their entire franchise history. He has 3,730 yards, which means he needs 270 yards to get to 4,000, which is doable.
That would be great.
Go.
That is a weird anomaly that they've never had a 4,000. Because 4,000 is not even that much, really.
Yeah, and since they expanded the season even, especially since the 90s, 4,000 isn't that much. So, yeah, it's astonishing that it's never happened.
All right.
Mike Dickett wasn't coaching all 40 years of that time,
All right. One more game to go here. Atlanta 27, Rams 24.
Oh boy.
What in God's name? My confidence is gone. It's gone. I told you last week they're still my Super Bowl pick. They're not anymore. I told you last week that on a neutral field, I still think they're the best team. I don't think that anymore. They have been really inconsistent lately. And Stafford, while still, a lot of people still think he's the MVP, 3 interceptions again and 2 touchdowns, but not playing well really in the last 3 or 4 games in a row now. They do not look right at all. And Atlanta does this. They just every once in a while will just come up and bite somebody every once in a while. They're not that good themselves. Just 7-9. Bijan Robinson, 195 yards. He can always do that. But this is more about the Rams. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I think we're seeing somewhat of a correlation with the Rams and Stafford's performance with Devontae Adams going down. They haven't really been the same team since he hasn't played the last few games. And on the Falcons side, this is kind of the second game where, along with the Ravens game, where it's kind of like they just gave the ball to their best player. It's like when you do that, it's crazy how great things can happen because Bijan Robinson just dominated this game. He just every time I was looking up, there were chunk plays that he was getting. And with that said, on the Rams side, Puka had arguably 2 of the best non-catches I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my God, yes.
So it was just weird stuff happening with them, but I agree. Like you're playing a team like the Falcons, you've got to close it out. You've got to, and they even got kind of lucky with that blocked kick as well. So
yes.
You've got to, you play a team like the Falcons, you've got to establish your dominance early and keep going with it. But they just didn't really have it throughout the game. It was really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Falcons were up 21-0. This was almost one of the greatest comebacks you'll ever see, and they just fell shy. You know what I mean? Like this was This was a really weird game. I didn't understand what was happening early on. It was just like, whoa, what is going on here, man? Are the Falcons really up 21-0? And all of a sudden it was halftime, and yes, they were. And then the Rams just got on a tear. But then they got in their own way a couple times, a couple of those catches that weren't catches that were amazing. And they just fell shy, you know. The Falcons, by the way, have been playing pretty well lately, which is weird feels strange coming out of my mouth. They've won 3 in a row to almost match the Saints, 4 in a row at the bottom of this division. And by the way, the Falcons have the same record as the Buccaneers, who are playing for the division this week. It's just because of the weird tiebreaker stuff that they don't have a shot.
Well, don't they? I thought they do have a shot.
I didn't think they could win for
No, I think they're eliminated. I think even if they win, I think it goes.
I think if it's a 3-way tie, Carolina wins. But isn't it if?
Oh, they can. Here it is. I have it.
Yeah, there is a way.
They're out. Okay.
They can still win. I thought that too, Brandon. They can still win the division in the final week, thanks to a chaotic NFC South where no one has clinched. It heavily depends on Week 18 results and tiebreakers, with the Panthers currently holding the edge. Here it is. Atlanta needs to beat the Saints and hope the Bucs lose to the Panthers. But even if the Panthers lose, the Falcons must win to force a tiebreaker where Carolina still wins the division. That doesn't make any sense. So if they win and Carolina loses, it's not that crazy. So I'm going to have to read more on that, because that was a weird Google AI breakdown that didn't make a whole lot of sense. But it did come up that Craig's right.
Got it.
But it's likely, I think, that Carolina's got the inside track, because they could lose the game against Tampa and still win the division.
Yes.
And obviously, if Carolina wins, then they definitely win the division. All right. This was a gross week. Me and Al, we were both 9-7 picking.
Oof.
Joe was 8-8. And Brandon, once again, was 10-6. Brandon's 33-15 on the year, where his winning percentage is better than all of ours. In terms of the overall, 161-95 is Al, 163-93 is me, and 161-95 is 161-95 is Joe as well. You tied Joe, Al.
So we're tied 2 games behind you going into the last week.
Right. And Brandon has a better winning percentage than all of us.
Do we count? Is it just regular season, or do we count playoffs in our tally? I was trying to remember, because that's going to affect whether I take a couple risks this week or not.
I don't know. Let's just decide it now. What do you want to do?
We think it's a separate thing, like regular season, and then do the playoffs separately. But I'm open to discussion there.
Yeah, all right. Let's just go with that. Regular season will be its own, and then we'll do the playoffs start fresh.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. All right.
Okay, we got about 5 minutes here to discuss the MVP, if you wanted to, a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I would love to hit this, because there was a massive, as we talked about earlier, there's a massive shift in the perception of the MVP this week. And I get it. I do. But I want to dispute it, and here's why. The new odds leader and favorite in the clubhouse, it seems to be, is Drake May. And listen, if he wins it, I'm not going to cry any tears or be pissed about it, because he's had a hell of a season. But after his 5 touchdown, 0 interception performance this week, he now has 30 touchdowns and 8 picks on the season, 4,200 yards, 4,203 to be exact. Matt Stafford, after his 2 touchdown, 3 interception thing this week, has 42 touchdowns and 8 interceptions and 4,448 yards. He is still crushing the awesome stats of Drake May. And we talked a little bit about him not playing that well. It was really only this week. I mean, 2 weeks ago in that loss to Seattle, he threw for 457 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions.
Yep.
That was 2 weeks ago. So I'm curious where you guys stand on this, because I find it really interesting, the shift that took place this week. And I do get it, because May had a hell of a game. But let's keep in mind it was against the Jets. Stafford was playing the Falcons, so I guess it's a similar type of thing. But I'm curious what you guys think, because Stafford's stats still blow away May's. And
the strength of schedule too is really in Stafford's favor. May has the 32nd ranked strength of schedule, literally the easiest schedule in the league.
And that's another factor, too. I agree with that 100%. So, yeah, I find it fascinating. I would still vote for Stafford personally. I'm curious where you guys come out in that.
Yeah, when you mentioned it earlier that we were going to have a conversation about it, Al, I was thinking in my head that I would still vote for Stafford, and basically for all the reasons mentioned. Drake May has only had one game this season where he's thrown for more than 300 yards. And as much as he's been killing it, as Craig, as you mentioned, the strength of schedule, just who he's played all year. Think about all the top defenses, Denver, Seattle, Houston. He hasn't played any of them, and so I still think he's had a fantastic season. And I think Stafford obviously has better weapons, so that also factors into it. But I think I would go Stafford if I had to vote for one.
I would go Stafford as well, but I think May is firmly the number 2 guy now.
Agreed.
Yeah. But if he does pull it off and he does get it, I won't complain about it either.
Yeah, I wouldn't be like livid or be like, oh, everybody's stupid. You know what I mean? But no way. It's clearly a 2-man. The second Josh Allen missed that Shakir for that 2-point conversion, his MVP candidacy was over.
Yeah.
I don't think it should play into it.
That's a play he would make most of the time.
Yeah.
That was an easy throw. I don't understand how that was weird.
Yeah.
Well, he was moving to his left. It was bad weather, so there's things you can point to. But you're right. He's going to make that throw. I don't care if it's torrential, if it's.
I mean, he still had a good completion percentage for that game during that weather. Yeah. It's not like he was 10 for 30 because of the weather.
Right. It was just one of those things.
Yeah. So I don't think it should really play into it, but if Drake May gets the 1 seed, that also could influence people to vote more for him than Stafford, as Stafford won't be.
You might have a little bit of a recency bias too, because the last 4 weeks Stafford hasn't been that great.
Well, now see, Craig, I got to dispute that again because you said that earlier, and here are Matt Stafford's last 4 weeks. 281 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks against the Cardinals. Okay. 368 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick against the Lions. 457 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks against the Seahawks. And then, of course, the Falcons game this week that is definitely wasn't.
So what am I thinking? Maybe before that?
It's just because they've been losing, probably.
Yeah, it's only because they've been losing. He has not played a bad game. His worst quarterback rating all season in any single game was this week against the Falcons at 64.5. Other than that, his worst quarterback rating the entire season was 82.4 in that crazy comeback loss against the Eagles.
Wow.
And he threw for 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick.
Wow. All right.
So it's the only case to be made is that it was entirely because of this week, in my mind.
All right. Well, that's going to do it. That's our Week 17 review. You guys have
hit us up in the comments, people, if you have any thoughts on the Stafford versus May or any of that. I'd love to hear people's take on that.
I'm really loving all of our views going up, but I would like some comments to discuss a little bit more. But other than that, anything more to add, guys?
I'm good, my man. Thank you.
Good. All right, we'll be right back. Make sure you guys check out the Week 18 preview. One of the hardest weeks to pick games. We're going to try to do it because you don't know who's playing. But anyway, and once again, thank everybody for the big uptick we've had in viewers the last couple weeks.